Have you ever heard the term energy vampire?
I have a defined ego, but in the last few years, I have felt a lot of questioning my self-worth, and where does that come from?
This is such a great question. And the answer to this question of what if I have something colored in my chart, but I'm feeling what you're describing, is a very interesting energetic difference. And when I describe it to you, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyone who's listening, like, pull up your chart and look at what's colored in versus what's not colored in, okay? Anything that's not colored in your chart, you have the potential to experience something called not self. I am not being who I'm really meant to be. I am distracted. I am focusing on something that just pulls me deeper into a bottomless pit, okay? A black hole, because it's inconsistent for me. It's not something that I can easily and consistently access on my own. So it's better to just leave it alone and focus on what is consistent for me and who I really am. That's what I refer to as not self. And so not self can show up in any of the centers of your chart that are not colored in. Undefined or open are also terms that we use to talk about centers that are not colored in. Okay. The centers that are colored in your chart, we call those centers defined. And those centers actually make up the shape and the expression of your aura, who you naturally are and who you are consistently. And so when you have something in your chart that's colored in and you're like, I don't know, that doesn't feel consistent to me. I don't feel like I can easily access that energy. Why? This is what I refer to as conditioning. And so it's a nuanced difference between me focusing on and being distracted by something that I'm never going to really have a firm and steady anchor on, and something that is clear and consistent for me, but someone around me told me that the way that I naturally am is not the right way to be. And here's what I've noticed in my own experience and with my clients. When you have a center that is undefined or open, so not colored in your chart, you're going to have this distraction, this major distraction that's always pulling you off track. And you get distracted and you get unfocused because you really can't find a good anchor for that energy. And that typically causes like a lot of mental stuff, right? Like a lot of not self-talk, a lot of narratives that you create, a lot of mental distraction. But what I have seen with my clients who have a center colored in that is conditioned is actually like health issues. So whatever organ is tied to that defined center, you start to experience like problems in that specific organ because you're telling the thing that is consistent and effervescent that, no, I don't think you're doing it right, right? And so your body starts to want to suppress the natural expression. So I'll give you two examples. The example in my own chart, and this happened when I was way younger, I have a defined root center and a defined spleen center. The root governs our adrenals and the spleen governs our immune system. And so when I felt like the way that I naturally was not the right way to be, and that I couldn't trust my own intuition and I couldn't trust my own ambition and goals, I went into full adrenal burnout, okay? Like falling asleep all of the time, no way to manage my own energy, and immune system like failure. Always sick, like always running into these autoimmune problems. I would catch every cold. Every time I got sick, it would linger. It would turn into respiratory infections and sinus infections. And I just like that part of me that's meant to be effervescent, I was telling myself, and the people around me were telling me that that's not the right way to be. As a projector, I'm a projector type in human design. So I was just always trying to hustle more. I was always trying to do more. I was always trying to find more willpower and motivation. I was always trying to go deeper and be more thorough with the undefined solar plexus center. And it was unhealthy for me. And so the areas in my chart that were consistent for me, I was like, no, you're not right. I can't listen to you. I need to go try to be what I'm not. And so I ran into some major health problems in my definition. So when you have a defined ego center and you do have this, like, you're meant to have this consistent sense of worthiness and value and willpower and motivation, and you run into environments that tell you basically that you're too much, okay? That they don't like how you push them beyond their perceived limits, right? They don't like how you like a certain amount of healthy competitiveness, okay? They don't like that. They say, calm that down, don't do that. Now you start to run into issues with your heart and with your stomach. And so it's very important to look at your chart and then feel into the energy. Feel into the differentiation of, is this me making up a story about myself that's not true? Or is this me finding the stories comes from the not self, the undefined centers? Or is this me finding myself in relationships and environments that don't honor who I truly am? And thus I'm trying to make myself smaller. I'm trying to suppress. That's what you'll find in your defined centers. So hope this helps.